Hi everybody, I'm here for our weekly update. So we are on to week 2 and we have 2 assignments open right now in MyUJ. So when you log on, click into our group fitness instructor class, you should see, which I know that this was not working earlier, so if you were on earlier today, as of Tuesday, I did go in there and make sure that they were open. MyUJ has been pretty glitchy, so if an assignment says that it should be open and it's not, shoot me an email and I will try to get into MyUJ and open it as soon as possible or see what went wrong. So you have the part 3 quiz. You have 50 minutes to take that, similar to part 1 and 2 quizzes. If you didn't do as well as you had hoped on part 1 and 2 quiz, I recommend making sure that you use the study companion and fill it out before you take the quiz. Those do go in line with the quizzes, so that should help you if you are trying to tackle it and get a better grade than what you've been getting on the first 2 quizzes. Once you have done that, you also have your cardio kickboxing class to create. So have fun with that class. If you're struggling, let me know. The assignment does give you some hints or I guess ideas of how you could create a cardio kickboxing class. That type of class is becoming very popular, so I threw that one in there as it's good to get practice with it. All of you have turned in your yoga flow assignments. Those looked awesome. Good job, you guys. I hope that you maybe practiced as you were doing it. If you haven't, try to do it. Try to, if maybe you're home with mom and dad or siblings, and run through a yoga class with them. You know that you have that practical final where you are going to have to teach a group fitness class, hopefully to somebody in your household. If you don't have anybody with you, you can do it just with yourself and pretend that you have an audience, considering where we're at with social distancing. But yoga is a great thing to incorporate right now. We are all very stressed. Yoga is a spirit, mind, body type of a class that can soothe us and relax us and work on our flexibility. So I recommend trying to run through that class with somebody that's in your household or even just by yourself. So, as promised, I am going to keep this to 10 minutes today. I want to hop over to our handouts or our notes for this chapter. So those are always going to be found under the handouts tab. I already have it open here. So this week we are focusing on strategies for enhancing instruction. So at this point you've created your class, you've tackled all the prep work, you've showed up day of. Now how can you make things better? That's what we are going to focus on. Okay, I'm going to go really quick because I know we don't have much time. Enhancing instruction. So your setup and your execution. So setup is naming the move before you do it, positioning your body correctly, and then execution. You're going to follow through, follow up. What did you see? Range of motion, offer cues for important aspects of movements. Then transitioning. So transitioning is something that I would say takes a lot of practice. Transitioning from one move to another, you have to be thinking on your feet. So you have to know what's coming next, especially if it goes to the beat of the music. You have to know that music so well that you can foresee when the beat's going to change and what you're going to do. So what I often do is say we're standing there and we're doing bodyweight squats in place. Okay, so I will say 8 more bodyweight squats, and then we are going to start with lateral lunges to the left first. And then I count it down. So then I'll go 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So count all the way down, and then I'll say, okay, to the left. And then we'll lunge to the left, to the right. So you have to tell them what's coming before it actually happens for them to stay with you. Cueing tips, as few words as possible. So do not get really wordy. Simple, just one corrective cue at a time, starting with proximal to distal. So an example would be core tight, back flat. Okay, when they tighten that core, the back's going to flatten, and then you can maybe cue the shoulders next. Okay, make sure shoulders are back. Then you can think about the knees. So start with the trunk or the core, proximal, and then work your way out to the distal. So cues are solution-based. You should see that form improve. If everybody in the class heard you and they're fully with you, you will see that corrective action take place. Also cueing the rhythm, so the tempo of the music. So I oftentimes do that just by snapping. Some people just need to hear that, kind of that beat. You can clap it out or snap it out. It works better than just saying, listen to the beat of the music. So, strategies for class education, cueing form, function, and fit. Those are our 3 cues. You are going to need to know those. We have performance standards, we have health benefits. Go through both of those, read through the examples. I'm not going to take time to talk through them, but this slide is very important, so be sure to come back to that one. Providing feedback, so positive corrections. Examples, don't let your knees lock out. We often use that one in cycling. The knees should never lock out, especially cycling, but in general, keeping that slight bend. Kinesthetic cues when appropriate, so telling somebody that you are going to touch them. Nancy, I'm going to place palms on either side of your elbows to keep those elbows turned in. Progressions, regressions, you guys are going to work on that in your assignment. So that will be coming up next week. Analyzing posture. So look at the posture. It's important to look at them when they walk in so that you know what you're working with before you get started. But that is cueing that back flat, core tight, lateral, anterior, or posterior. So posterior is the front, lateral side to side, and then the posterior is the back. So highlight, you're going to want to come back to the different postures that we commonly see in different individuals. We were going to do a posture exam if we were in the classroom, but you guys will get to do that in Dr. T's class anyways. So here's an example of observing the 3 different posture angles. So laterals from the side, anterior is the front, posterior is the back. We often see the tilts in the pelvic, either forward or back, and that offsets your posture to lean forward or to lean back. Lateral would be more so if somebody has scoliosis or some sort of a curvature of the spine that would cause you to have an imbalance of the lateral posture. Okay, analyzing form and technique. So making sure that the movements are controlled. If somebody starts to go too fast in their movements, then they are no longer controlling them. Good posture, muscular contraction. I'm going to keep going pretty quick here. We're running out of time. Always ask for feedback from your participants. Sometimes it will be good, sometimes it will be bad. You always have to take it, be mindful of their suggestions, and just try to improve from them. Participants are always wanting to give feedback for the most part. I oftentimes have received better feedback from a pen and paper type of a survey that remains anonymous rather than just asking them to speak out. Also feedback from colleagues or supervisors, those of you that are going to be teaching a class in your homes. I'm sure that your family would be more than willing to share feedback. They will probably be more honest than what you're looking for. So ask them how you did, what you could improve on, what went well, what went bad. Conflicts. So conflicts will occur. Some different examples: material conflicts, lack of equipment. That's pretty common. So lack of equipment. Say that you had a class designed for dumbbells. There is a shortage of dumbbells. Too many participants showed up. What can you do? Can you have those guys grab kettlebells and switch it up? Music conflicts. We've talked about that a few times. Music goes wrong quite often. The Bluetooth doesn't work. Do you have a phone that can plug in audio, or should you maybe carry a dongle in your bag? What can you do there? Non-material issues. Partner exercises. Maybe you have a partner workout created and an odd number shows up. What can you do for that one odd person? Odors, stinky rooms, common issue. No air conditioning is another issue that often arises. Harassments and threats. So hopefully this doesn't happen, but it may, and you have to be ready to deal with it. Could be towards you, could be between maybe 2 participants show up and they don't get along and you become the mediator. So knowing how to deal with those different situations. Okay, last slide, mental burnout. I have had this myself. My best recommendation is to switch up what you're teaching. So I often find comfort in teaching the same workout classes over and over. However, you will have burnout. So you have to switch it up. Maybe switch up the classes you're teaching or even just the time that you're teaching it to create more of a diverse background of what you're teaching, or like I said, just switching up that time can help as well. Also, avoiding overtraining syndrome. So if you are teaching the same class multiple times a week, you don't want to become overtrained or working the same. Say that you're teaching cycling 3 times a week. You're going to be training that lower body, but you are going to put yourself more at risk of overtraining syndrome. It can lead to loss of sleep, elevated resting heart rate, fatigue. You're going to wear out those muscles, also changes in weight. Okay, I know that I went over my time limit, so that's all of our notes for this week. I ran through them really quickly, so I hope that you guys were able to stay with me. If you have any questions, same as always, you have my cell phone number, you have my email, shoot me a text, send me an email, or call me. If there's any questions, you will be able to see results from exam 3 once everybody has taken it and it's past due date. So once that comes open, please read through your responses, what you got right and what you got wrong. That will help you come time for the certification exam and the final if you are reviewing the questions that you did right and you did wrong. Okay, stay safe everybody and have a great rest of the week.